From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aishah Ashraf. President Donald Trump's massive spending and tax cuts bill is passed today in the House of Representatives by 4 votes. That and more coming up in today's show, so stay tuned. The U.S. says it supports Israel's right to make its own security decisions, even as top Israeli ministers call for annexing the occupied West Bank. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce said America stands with Israel, but didn't clarify if the U.S. still supports a two-state solution. She added that President Trump is focused on rebuilding Gaza after a ceasefire. Meanwhile, 14 ministers from Netanyahu's party want the West Bank annexed by July 27th. They say Trump's backing makes this the right time and claim a Palestinian state would be a threat to Israel's existence. The United States is condemning Iran for cutting off cooperation with the UN's nuclear watchdog. American officials say Iran must return to working with the agency immediately. They accuse Tehran of enriching uranium to dangerous levels with no peaceful purpose. Iran is the only country enriching uranium up to 60% without having nuclear weapons. This move comes after Iran's president approved a new law ending ties with the agency, following a brief but intense 12-day conflict with Israel and the U.S. That fighting began in mid-June and ended with a U.S.-brokered ceasefire on June 24th. The U.S. says Iran will not be allowed to develop nuclear weapons. President Donald Trump's massive spending and tax cuts bill is passed today in the House of Representatives by 218 to 214 votes. The bill will give top 1% over $1 trillion in tax breaks over 10 years. It is offset by cutting $930 billion from Medicaid. This was reported by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. On Tuesday, the Senate passed the bill 51-50 after Vice President J.D. Vance broke a tie. President Donald Trump has intensified his attacks on Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate for New York mayor. Trump implied that Mamdani is an illegal immigrant. He threatened to arrest him if he tries to block immigration raids. Mamdani responded by accusing Trump of authoritarian behavior and spreading lies. Trump's remarks echo past false claims made about Barack Obama, in which his U.S. birth was wrongly questioned. Here is a Muslim Network report about Mamdani. The Trump administration is threatening legal action against CNN over its report on IceBlock, an app that helps users avoid immigration and customs enforcement agents. During a visit to an ICE facility in Florida, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem accused CNN of encouraging people to evade law enforcement. She said her department and the Justice Department are exploring ways to prosecute the network. CNN defended its reporting, saying it only covered a publicly available app and did not promote it. The app's creator, Joshua Aaron, told CNN he built it to push back against what he called Nazi-style deportations. Trump's border chief, Tom Homan, also criticized CNN, saying this kind of reporting endangers ICE officers. IceBlock is currently available on iPhone. 2 Muslim women are suing Orange County and its sheriff's department after deputies allegedly forced them to remove their hijabs during a peaceful protest at UC Irvine. The protest was against Israel's genocide on Gaza. One woman says her hijab was ripped off and stomped on, and her uncovered hair appeared in news footage. Both say they had to take booking photos without their hijabs in front of men, which they say violated their religious rights. The lawsuit, backed by CARE and the Asian Law Caucus, demands better policies and training. The sheriff's office denies wrongdoing and says female staff handled everything privately. Saudi Arabia is restoring the 1,400-kilometer Darb Zubaydah Trail as a living museum under Vision 2030, honoring Queen Zubaydah's legacy. Details coming up next. Welcome back. At least 118 Palestinians were killed in Israeli attacks on Gaza in the past 24 hours, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Among them were 38 people trying to get humanitarian aid, bringing the total number of aid seekers killed to 652. Over 4,500 others have been injured since May 27th, when a new aid delivery system was put in place. Airstrikes hit schools, sheltering families in Gaza City and Khan Yunis, killing several women and children. Tents and care centers were also struck. Israel's genocide in Gaza has now killed over 65,000 people and injured more than 134,000, according to the health ministry. Last November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its war on the enclave. Israeli settlers have burned down hundreds of Palestinian olive trees near the West Bank villages of Madama, Til, and Burin. The fires destroyed large stretches of farmland. Settler attacks have jumped 30% this year, with over 400 incidents reported. Nearly 770,000 Israeli settlers now live in illegal settlements across the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority warns that Israel's ongoing annexation push is destroying hopes for a two-state solution. Israel has occupied the West Bank since 1967 and ramped up settlement building during the war on Gaza. A roadside bomb killed at least 5 people and injured 11 others in Pakistan's Bajaur district on Wednesday. The blast targeted Assistant Commissioner Faisal Ismail's vehicle. Ismail, a colleague, and 2 police officers died on the spot. No group has claimed responsibility, but the Pakistani Taliban, TTP, has carried out similar attacks in the area. President Zardari and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the bombing and vowed to fight terrorism. Bajaur borders Afghanistan and has seen rising terror activity. Nationwide, Pakistan reported 502 attacks in the first half of 2025, killing 737 people. Former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to 6 months in jail for contempt of court, her first conviction since fleeing to India last year. The Dhaka-based International Crimes Tribunal announced the verdict on Wednesday. Shakil Akhunda Bulbul, a fugitive leader of her party, received a 2-month sentence in the same case. The charges stem from a leaked audio clip in which Hasina allegedly said, "There are 227 cases against me, so I have a license to kill 227 people." The court ruled that her comments aimed to undermine judicial authority. Hasina fled to India last August after a student-led uprising ousted her. She now faces separate charges of crimes against humanity over a deadly crackdown during the unrest. The interim government has declared August 5th July Mass Uprising Day to mark her removal. Saudi Arabia is restoring Darb Zubaydah, a 1,400-kilometer pilgrimage trail linking Kufa, Iraq to Makkah. Named after Queen Zubaydah, wife of Abbasid Caliph Harun al-Rashid, the route once supported thousands of pilgrims and traders. Over 1,200 years ago, Zubaydah personally funded and oversaw the construction of wells, mosques, and rest stops along the path. The effort was a remarkable display of female leadership and public service in Islamic history. As part of Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia plans to transform the trail into a living museum with guided tours, eco-camps, and learning programs. The kingdom also hopes to secure UNESCO World Heritage status for the site. The Islamic Development Bank is calling for wider use of Islamic finance to address global economic challenges. At a high-level meeting in Spain, Bank President Mohammed Al-Jasser said Islamic finance offers sustainable, inclusive solutions. He stressed that it's not just an alternative system, but a vital tool for fair and stable financial development. The event was held alongside the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development and co-hosted by the UN and Senegal. Here's a report on Islamic finance by Dawood Warnsby. A new report accuses Indian officials of fueling deadly violence in Sambal, a Muslim-majority town in Uttar Pradesh. Called Little Turkey, Sambal is home to about 500,000 Indian Muslims of Turkish heritage. The unrest began last November after a court ordered a rush survey of a 16th century mosque, following Hindu claims it was built over a demolished temple. The report by 2 civil rights groups alleges officials used excessive force, enabled mobs, and failed to protect the Muslim community. 5 Muslims were killed after police opened fire on protesters. The report warned Sambal could become the next Ayodhya, referencing the 1992 mosque demolition that triggered riots nationwide. Australian scientists have created remote-controlled beetles to help in search and rescue missions. These tiny cyborg insects wear microchip backpacks and can move through disaster rubble better than robots. Operators use controllers to guide the beetles by sending signals to their antennae and wings. The beetles can climb walls and squeeze through tight spaces. Researchers say this could help rescuers quickly find people trapped under debris. They plan to add small cameras and run live tests within the next 5 years. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.